What's that word, family? Hey man, check this out. The homeboy DL Hughley has came out with yet again more things to say about the passing of Kevin Samuels. So I'm gonna let y'all hear DL Hughley in his own words, and I'll be back with more commentary. So check this out.
True to spread my wings. So, of course, we were all agreed with the news of Kevin Samuels passing. And it's interesting because we had just previously, the previous week on Wednesday, we had one of the DLQs we did was about the last statement that I was aware that he made. One of the things broadcast he performed was when he said that basically if you're 35 years old and you're not married, you are a leftover, which is indicative of the kind of things that he used to say.
All right, so everybody's talking about this leftover shit, right? The whole term leftover woman comes from China, a whole culture that DL Hughley is very afraid about speaking on, right? DL Hughley will not speak on China, but let's continue with what he said about Kevin Samuels.
As a matter of fact, when I first heard of him, I was with my road manager, and he was listening to something he said, and it struck me as cruel and unnecessary. And subsequently, I've heard a lot of things.
All right, so the first time that DL Hughley heard about Kevin Samuels, it struck him as cruel and unnecessary, right? Ladies and gentlemen, what's cruel about Kevin's message? Well, the way he said it was wrong. But we still fighting for voters' rights. And this whole Kevin Samuels thing has took DL Hughley from talking about voters' rights and abortion, which is cruel. So you telling me that a woman having an abortion is much less crueler than Kevin Samuels speaking on women who have kids out of wedlock, right? Let's go. You go to Black Man.
That had come out that seemed to have that same tone. And so, when he died, I felt really bad because I thought, even in death, that some of the comments were just so vitriolic and so acrimonious. I thought that they didn't necessarily fit the crime. I thought that it was just unnecessarily.
All right, so right there we got D.L. Hughley saying that the comments that people were making did not fit the crime because the brother Kevin Samuels actually didn't do nothing wrong to nobody. He got on the internet and he did his thing just the same way like DL is doing his thing, right? Who is DL's haters, right? Who hates DL?
The man had run his race, everything was over. He wasn't a rapist or a murderer or a child molester or anything of that sort. But whatever he did, it stirred up these strong feelings of vitriol. So I was talking to a frat brother of mine, and I wanted to do something, to say something. So I was talking to him about, how I felt, and he was telling me that eulogy, the word, the Latin word eulogy means to speak well of, not to add, not to detract, but to speak well of. So with that in mind, I've gone on social media to look at whatever I could to find something that was good to say. And I can say this, that mostly everything I saw in terms of his profile was always well-produced pictures and him wearing sunglasses and looking cool and well-dressed, but nothing personal. I remember I had...
All right, so let's talk about that, right? I just remade my Facebook. Well, Facebook kicked me off of Facebook because of things I was saying in my personal life. And I had to separate low from the go versus my personal self and what I really think and how I feel about people, right? I had to separate that. I had to make a whole new Facebook page just for low from the go. I have no photos on there because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? When I do take photos for low for the go or members news, when I do take the photos for the members news Facebook profile, they're going to be professional photos. Why? Because I'm using my social media as a business. DL Hughley, don't you do the same thing? You find that suspicious. You find that suspicious. You didn't find anything on Kevin Samuels about his parents, his one daughter. I'm not sure if his dad's alive. I'm not sure if his mom's alive. He don't have brothers and sisters. The man told you he came from a small family. He's a one-man army, right? And not only that, Kevin Samuels also said that a man has no issues with becoming a person that can not bother nobody, stay in his own zone. Women always have to be in somebody's business. That's what Kevin Samuels said. A man can become a hobbit or a motherfucker that sit in the house by himself, don't bother nobody, just live his life out, do his hobbies, whatever. He can become that. Kevin Samuels said that. Let's listen more.
I posted, I sent out a tweet and I said that R. Kelly would get warmer condolences than Kevin Samuels was getting, which I thought was out of line. I thought that the punishment didn't necessarily fit the crime. And somebody on Twitter said, well, R. Kelly made people feel good too. He wasn't just what he did. So in death, what you have are two things.
All right, so you mean to tell us that this whole couple of decades, the worst criminal in the world, R. Kelly, allegedly, that's what y'all say, right? R. Kelly did all these crimes against these grown adult women, the same thing that Kevin Samuels did not do. But by him going against women, that's the common denominator between R. Kelly and Kevin Samuels. Once women, feminists found out the sexual pleasures of R. Kelly, they went ham, right? It's like a dominatrix. She can dress up in black, pull pebbles out your ass, all type of different crazy things. Nothing's wrong with that, right? But as soon as it's somebody that don't want their sexual life or don't want their family and personal business in the streets, then it's oh my God, he's weird. I should have knew it. He was too quiet.
How people make you feel and how you remember them. And I think that Kevin Samuels was an amalgamation. His profile, his social media presence was designed to do one thing, and that was to forward an image. It seems like this is the one that he was.
DL, you goofy motherfucker. You say Kevin Samuels' social media image was designed. And what do we talk about, people? We talk about Instagram, right? And Facebook and these profile pictures. They never show the real you, do they? And you expect DL Hughley, he's a GOAT, man. He's the greatest at his profession. But not only that, the nigga look like a fucking GOAT right now. You know what I'm saying? But he's the greatest in his profession. And I'm pretty sure that he ain't got the last argument in household fight on his Facebook, right? Do y'all think DL Hughley got the last time he got into an argument with his girl or his car got on the flat on his Facebook channel? Or do he have pictures of him in Jamaica, right?
People having him. And that seems sad to me. Even the way that we learned of his death, it took 24 hours before anybody could confirm it. What that tells me,
it took 24 hours for people to confirm it. It's because Kevin Samuels is an internet personality, right? And what that tells DL is nobody cared about Kevin Samuels. But the truth is, by Kevin Samuels being an internet personality, we got to take half of what we see on the internet with salt. CBS 2 ain't checking for Kevin Samuels. They can give a fuck that Kevin Samuels died. They may have mentioned it because of how big he was, but what DL Hughley is failing to realize, Kevin Samuels was not a celebrity. He was not with Hollywood ties. He's on the internet. Everything DL Hughley is saying is kissing the ass of black women. I just saw a reverend get down on Kevin Samuels. So he's the topic in the chitlin circuit. That's what that means. Kevin Samuels was for the black community, and he was the topic in the chitlin circuit. He wasn't the topic in Hollywood. DL, you know this shit. You saying anything to compromise with the black woman, just like the preacher. Why the fuck was Kevin Samuels mentioned in a church service? He got what he deserved. Ah, God damn it. Seriously? He got what he deserved? D.L. Hughley, all you motherfuckers that's kissing asses, that man did nothing wrong, period. Don't try to justify his death and these black people celebrating. It's just like the Breakfast Club. Every time I watch them, when a rapper commit a crime, I would have did it. DJ Envy, I would have did it to protect my family, man. Charlamagne the God, I don't see nothing wrong with what he did. The baby shooting a motherfucker just for humping his gate. He could have held him at gunpoint, but he shot him. Charlamagne, I would have protected my family. DJ Envy, I would have did it too. Once you jump the gate, it's over with. Kevin Samuels harmed nobody. Let's continue.
Is that either nobody cared or knew how to get in contact with somebody. It is a shame that that happened.
Nobody cared or knew how to get in contact with somebody. How do you know D.L. Hughley? You don't know Kevin Samuels' real friends. You don't know his real friends. You don't know the name he went by on Facebook. He was on the internet, so he had to keep the rest of the internet private from his business on the internet. Right? What? Don't that make sense? Keep the rest of the internet and your shit private from the other part of the internet that's actually you. His mom came out and said she learned about his death on social media, man. He was the only child. He had one child. They probably didn't know for 24 hours. Nigga, I live out of town from my family. They might not find out about me dying for 24 hours. That's nothing unusual, D.L. Hughley. Regardless to what you're saying on this video, we know that you're catering for black women.
Cut your phone off for 24 hours and see how many calls you get. See how many people are checking for you. See if they're worried about you.
Yeah. And that's what the internet nigga don't have to worry about, D.L. Hughley. The internet nigga that made his own business off the internet, if he's a one child, he don't got a wife, he's estranged from his family for whatever reason. You probably estranged from your family for whatever reason, but somebody gonna know, right? Because you got your shit set up like that. Kevin Samuels is the only child. I never heard of him talking about his aunties, his cousins. Maybe he don't got none. Maybe his mom was the only child. Maybe his bloodline is from only child to only child. Or how do you know how soon they reacted? Do a motherfucker gotta put some shit on the internet for glorification just to show you niggas that people love me? People love me. Let's see his funeral before you even make this statement. But that's D.L. Hughley. You know what I'm saying? The women, they got his balls. They got him by the balls. Fox got him by the balls. ABC got him by the balls. Paramount got him by the balls. Netflix got him by the balls. Now you attack Kevin Samuels. And low-key, I was just trying to figure out, nigga.
If that's not the case, I would submit that you're not living. I would submit that you need to change something. Kevin Samuels.
So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Kevin Samuels don't have family going all over on a press run talking about he's dead. Imagine if his mom was just everywhere. Oh, my baby crying. And why she was never on the show? Then it'd be why she was never on the show. Why he never brought her on? Why she never talked? Kevin Samuels is down at 60 years old. How old is his mama? DL. You think she's technically inclined? His one child, you expect her to immediately come on like a spokesperson? She don't. And maybe Kevin did have a PR team, but it was small. It was only for certain things. It wasn't for everything. I died like the Jacksons or some shit. Tito Jackson died. Nobody comes out. Then that's the issue. But Kevin Samuels, we already know.
Was a human being. I think it's a shame when any human being dies.
All right. I'm done with the GOAT, man. Like I said, the nigga not only is the greatest at what he does, but he looks like a goddamn GOAT. So I'm done with the GOAT, man. I'm through with that bullshit. Let me tell y'all this, man. All this low-key hate, on Kevin Samuels don't make no sense, especially from somebody like DL Hughley. If you DL Hughley, why are you making multiple stories about a YouTube motherfucker? Why? Oh, he pissed black people off. He did this. He did that. Kevin Samuels is not the only black person on the internet pissing black people off. Candace Owens is not the only person on YouTube pissing black people off. But y'all focus with the people like that. And Kevin was pro-black, man. Kevin wasn't working with white folks. Kevin wasn't doing that. Tell me how y'all feel about this whole entire situation in the comment section, man. I'll be back later with more news and commentary, man. I'm sick of this shit. DL Hughley, what the fuck are you talking about? Peace.